we always look for ways to be able to do it, not for ways and reasons not to be able to do it. We're like, yeah, we can do that. And then we'd sit down and be like, okay, well, let's see. We've never done this before. How are we going to do this?
Welcome to the Beyond the Hustle podcast. I'm Corey Barkoch, and this is Kathy Camara with Entech Staffing Solutions. Thanks for being on, Kathy.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about what you guys do at Entech.
Oh gosh, Corey. So it's Entech Staffing Solutions, but we do have a couple of other divisions that we've kind of broken out. So it's Entech Staffing Solutions, Labor Staffing Solutions, and Entech Medical Staffing.
Okay. How long has Entech been around again?
So Entech back in the day started in like 1983. And through the history, it was owned by Janet Sparks, and she ran a great business, grew it to be close to 40 million back in the day. She eventually took ill back in the early 2000s, and to make a long story short, her daughter and I ended up buying it out in 2009.
Nice. So how did you get started involved? What year did you get started with Entech, and how did you get involved?
So I started back in 1987.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've actually been here for, 37 years? Yeah, more than half my life.
38?
38, 37?
38.
What is that? Who knows math?
38.
38. So I started right out of college and went into one of those offices. At the time, you guys probably wouldn't know this, but you'd go into these offices and they'd have all these computers that were sitting around like a table, and that was an Entech office. It was Entech personnel at the time. And I went in and you sat down and you got on the computer and you applied, and so I did just that. And I actually was offered a position to be a receptionist.
That's a big difference.
Yep, in our South Field office, making $5 an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was $5 an hour back then, like to today's equivalent?
Oh my God, I would probably say like 15.
15.
Yeah, 15, 16 bucks an hour. You know, average wage right now is everybody's making 15, 16, $17 an hour. So yeah, I started at $5 an hour as a receptionist, and obviously I was responsible for answering the phones, and everybody in the office was named Kathy. So there was Kathy, there was Catherine, there was another Kathy. So I had to change my name, and don't ask me why, but I changed my name to Lindsay.
Nice.
I just liked the name, so I was known as Lindsay. So I actually had business cards as Lindsay, so I started out as the receptionist, because when people would call in and they would ask for Kathy, obviously I needed to know who it went to. So I kind of worked my way from there into a position which we deemed the telemarketing coordinator. And I only worked on telemarketing accounts. So I handled, well, they're not around to this day, but it was like AllNet Communications and GLS marketing.
Okay, so you guys were doing staffing for telemarketing companies.
We were, yeah. At that time, we were mostly clerical and administrative. We did some technical at that time. So that's how it originally started out. Janet was doing business with General Motors. So they were doing, administrative support positions, which at that time, every C-suite position had an administrative support person. Not like you have today. Most everybody does their own work. They plan their own things, but at that time, that's kind of how we got started.
So why did you apply at Entech to start? Like, did you like the idea of going into staffing, or were you just looking for a job?
I was just looking for a job at that point. I was between semesters in college, and I just wanted to find something because we had a 4-week break at Christmas. Mm-hmm. And so I just went into this, whatever, I don't know how I heard about it, went in, applied, got a job, and I actually never ended up going back to school.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I just ran with it. So, and over time, I just developed into new roles. We had a lot of offices that time. We probably had at least 7 branch offices. That was just the way it worked. Everybody, you didn't want to have to drive more than 15, 20 minutes to get to a location mm-hmm. to apply for a job. Mm-hmm. In today's world, obviously it's different. Everybody, is willing to hop on and do a Zoom. It's just, it's so different today. And now we only have our corporate office in Troy and a small office up in Grand Blanc.
So there used to be actual branches where that's how you apply for a job.
Yeah,
Like
actual
you
branches.
drove
Go in,
place.
you drove. hmm
Like
I would say
walk
within
3 miles in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Just like we did. Yeah, when I grew up, up a hill all the way to high school, walked a mile.
On the dinosaur.
Yeah. And then back.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So did you just? So you get a job there.
So I get a job
and they're
there.
just like, I'm not going back to school. So you must have liked it.
I did. I loved it. It was interesting. I had a great boss. I liked the office, and they just kept finding new opportunities for me. Well, what about doing this? And so eventually, I was a telemarketing coordinator, and we found a need to develop these people that were coming into this field. So I started developing training programs for telemarketing, people that wanted to go into telemarketing. So it's funny because my major in college was communication, and we always think, well, what the hell are we going to do with a communications degree?
Right.
Well, it kind of worked right into that. I developed these programs for the telemarketing people that were coming into work in this environment, and that's kind of how things took off. So I developed these training programs, taught people what to do and how to communicate to go into these roles, and then it developed further into, because we were really growing at the time. I think we grew up to probably 80 some direct staff. So they started seeing a need to train our new recruiters that were coming in. So I started developing training for our internal direct staff.
So direct staff is like recruiters, those like people working for Entech, not like the actual tele. So
Yeah.
how many people do you guys think you had on like payroll total though, with like the accounts that you had were?
Oh gosh, I would say at that time, because we grew up to like 40 million, I would say, I don't know if we ever hit 1,000 contract staff out there, but we were pretty darn close.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then so you guys obviously don't, that's not really your focus now. So I guess when did that start shifting away from like that, like telemarketing and clerical? Like
So
how did
kind
Entech kind of evolve?
It just kind of evolved as the market evolved. Janet was really a pioneer in her day. She always looked for new opportunities, and she wasn't afraid to try anything.
Janet's your partner. Or Janet was the original owner.
Janet was the original owner. She's since passed. Her daughter is Amy. And Amy and I, Amy and I are business partners now.
Cool.
So she just always looked for new opportunities to venture into contract work, and she wasn't afraid to try anything. So if somebody would present her with an idea, she'd be like, yeah, we can do that. And I think still to this day, we always look for ways to be able to do it, not for ways and reasons not to be able to do it. We're like, yeah, we can do that. And then we'd sit down and be like, okay, well, let's see. We've never done this before. How are we going to do this? And as a team, we would just knock it out of the park and figure out a way to do it. And it just evolved. And we, back in the day and still to this day, provide great customer service. And that's different for this industry. It was all about follow-up, and she taught us that. Like, if you get an order and you don't think you can fill it, it's all about talking to the client about why and what we can do, and do we need to change the pay, and do we need to change the bill, and these are the candidates that we're getting, and maybe you ought to be flexible in your job description or specifically what you're looking for. So she was just always, on it, and taught us to do the same. I mean, she taught me everything that I do today. The premise is based on her philosophy. Just be good at what you do, be driven, and it's all about the client, and it'll grow, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest difference between like back in the 80s and now, like the biggest changes in staffing? Like are there any like trends or things that have changed the most, or?
Gosh, that's a pretty big gap. So, I mean, back in the day, everybody was used to dealing with people, and it was one-on-one, and we were all about creating relationships. You would set out on foot when you made a sales call. You would physically go into that location. Well, today, you can't do that. I mean, the doors are locked and closed. You have to ring a doorbell, and so everything's done via email, over the phone. I mean, when I started back in the day, email, we didn't have email. We didn't have computers.
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones.
It's like an advertising you used to like. It's like we can just like ship somebody a design comp, but like back in the day, you had to literally you would
Physically
layer it out on a poster, basically.
Yeah.
Do all the clippings, glue it, put it in a container, mail it.
Right, mail
Yeah.
it. Wait for them to
Insane.
get it,
Yeah.
and then they would call you and you talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like everything just used to be way slower.
Way slower. Everything was hard copy. All of our employee files, they came in and physically filled out paperwork. and then you would code them. You're like, okay, they're a receptionist, and back in the day we called them word processors. And then we would classify them in these drawers, and then when we would get an order, we'd go to the drawer and we'd leaf through the file drawer and we'd pull out files, and we would sit down and get on the phone, and then we would write our outcome on the outside of the file, and we'd put the file back in the drawer. So everything was just different. It took a lot longer, but that's what we knew. So now today, you know, still part of my process is I like that paper. You know, I want to have something in my hand. I want to read it on a piece of paper. I don't want to look at the computer and do it. So, and everything, the expectations are different. Everybody wants things like this. You know, everything's super fast. You know, you're always looking for a new way to do things faster, better than the next
Faster
guy.
and better, not just
faster and better.
Yeah, for
How
sure.
are my people more qualified than the next guy, and how can my communication be that much faster than that guy? And you know, as you're learning the AI tools, and you know, you just
that's my next question is like, how do you see AI affecting your industry?
I like it to an extent. I like that it helps us move faster. It can, you know, assess a resume quickly, you know, quicker than a human could do it,
Right.
you know, and it could spit out, you know, 20 qualified candidates where it might take me physically, if I'm going in and I'm looking for candidates and I got to read each resume and I'm determining if they're qualified. From that aspect, I appreciate AI. From the part that I don't like it and I'm afraid of it is that I don't want to see it take the place of the people conversation, because we're in the people business. And so I like that one-on-one communication, and I want to trust that when I'm talking and interviewing with somebody, that it's actually that person and it's not AI.
I think that, that makes sense.
You
Oh
know?
yeah, so like on the other end of it.
Yeah,
So
how do
not,
I know?
Yeah, not even just being like, hey, his voice could replace like part of the recruiting process, but like,
Sure.
hey, his voice could, or you'd be hiring people in the matrix.
Yeah, and we're hearing from some of our employees, they're like, oh my God, this was so weird. I had basically a robot call me and screen me for a position, and I didn't even realize it was a robot. You know, they eventually figured out, but it's like, that was creepy.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would hate to see our industry become that, because it's a people-driven industry, and it is still, I'm old school. I'm all about the relationships.
I think you're gonna have, I think it's gonna be more like maybe some of those beginning qualifying stages, like you're saying, like reviewing a resume, maybe even that initial first like screening call, like a short call. Hey, just confirming your appointment. I think a lot of that can be done with
Can be
voice.
automated.
It might even should be. But then like I think there's always gonna be a people element, and then also in staffing too, like the whole strategy element, right? Like strategy to me is like probably like a big thing in staffing. It's like, okay, cool, like yeah, we can find you the people, but like, hey, find you the right person based on what you guys want, the right fit, right culture fit, all these different things, and then hey, where do we source these types of candidates from these places?
Right.
So like you know the database that you guys have and all that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah.
it's just that our industry obviously is like heavily affected, I think, in a positive way by artificial intelligence. Like I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool that it's interesting to talk about it like other industries and stuff too, and how it's like impacting. So
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. But yeah,
You can help things move faster. You know,
Yeah.
if you need to write something, it can, you know, give you the basic content, and then you can plug in, you know.
they got me.
what you want.
I was looking for a car like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and I called the dealership, and I'm asking for a really specific vehicle, and the guy on the phone, he won't give me pricing, and I'm like, dude, just stop it. I'm getting the car from you guys. Just like, give me an idea on the ball, and he like won't give it to me. He keeps like skirting the issue. So I come in. And they're like, hey, I'm like, hey, I had an appointment. They're like, yeah, sorry. That was AI. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we don't have that vehicle. I was looking for whatever, like it was like an Escalade. I guess all the Escalades in the country right now, like 21s to 23s, all the 5.6 liter engines got recalled. So you can't buy a 21 to 23 American-made SUV right now, basically. But it was crazy. But it was AI. AI got me to go from my house, pissed me off. But I still went to the dealership thinking it was a human, and like I think I'm pretty sharp.
So were
like,
you talking to them?
Yes.
You were talking to
It
them.
was good. Like it was good enough to get me to go there.
Sure, like you didn't realize that you weren't talking to
Yes, I thought I was just talking to a bad salesperson.
Oh my God.
Legit.
Yeah, see
And
that
I'm
to
younger.
me, I
like,
love that.
I'm
I
pretty
love
sharp. You know,
Right,
like so. It's
right.
like how often are we interacting with the stuff where we don't even know? Because I wouldn't have known unless the guy told me. I would love to tell him the salesperson sucks.
Yeah, right.
So the staffing industry does seem like one that it is kind of up and down, right? Is it very?
Oh
like,
yeah, it's definitely up and down. And right now, I mean, everybody's feeling it, just like everybody in the industry is feeling it. It's down. It's slower. You know, everybody's uncertain about the tariffs. What does it look like? What are we going to pay? How much are we going to pay? Can we afford to bring people on or not? So everybody's just kind of sitting tight, and we're sitting tight as well. Just kind of just rolling with it and seeing what happens.
Yeah, just gotta hang on.
Just gotta hang on. You're just hanging on.
So
Go
what
with the ride.
industries do you guys mostly know?
Well, like I said, we've got different divisions.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of general labor. And
So owning Entech, have there been any like oh shit moments? Like was there any time where you guys got like oh wait, like what was that like? Has there been any like as part of your journey, like yo, I don't know if we're gonna make it, like that fear, that anxiety is like owning the business. Like have you guys had any of that? Like were there any dark times in Entech, or has it all just been kind of unicorns and rainbows?
So when we first bought the company in 2009, it was, I don't know if you remember back then, but it was the bad times for the automotive.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, GM and Ford and everybody was having to borrow money. And so we're like, okay, why not buy a company right now?
Yeah.
So we bought it in 2009 at a scary time. And Amy and I walked out of the bank and looked at each other and we're like, what the hell did we just do? Like, is this going to be okay? And we're like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And so have there been dark times? I would say very few. We've been very fortunate. So once we bought it in 2009, we were at the bottom. We had to obviously reduce staff at that point. We bought it, and at that point we just really started to invest ourselves in it, and we started growing, and we've just grown over the years. And I would say recently, the past year probably has been the most difficult for us. We were very conservative from 2009 up until now. And the past couple of years, we were kind of like, well, let's try this, or maybe we should do that. Why don't we add in this? And so with what we're seeing in the market now, we needed to scale back a little bit, and we have. But I think we've always stayed true to our model, which is, we can get through this, we can get through anything. We've got a team of people. We just need to make the right decisions and keep everybody going, keep everybody pushing. And I think we're all on the same page. We're like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah, it seems
we
like
got to scale back a little bit.
It seems like you guys have a lot of big relationships over the years, right? Like that's like a lot of your customer base. And
Absolutely.
Relationships, good reputation.
Yeah.
You guys have some.
We do.
You guys have some community involvement stuff too. What do you guys do in the community?
We do. Emma started back with us. Emma, how many years?
5 years.
5 years. And that was a goal of ours, of wanting to get into the community and have involvement. So we are really doing a lot today. We work a lot with Hope Against Trafficking, On the Wings of Angels, Lighthouse. Who are some other ones? Blessings in a Backpack.
Those all local or?
All local. Everything
cool.
we do is local. We want to give a lot of our time. So, and the way that you give time is through local charities.
Cool.
Dutton Farms.
What is your guys' involvement like in those? Is it like volunteer?
So,
Is
it really depends on the charities. Each charity is different. Hope Against Trafficking, I think, is probably one of our favorites that we're involved in because it ties in what we do and how we can truly help them. And we help survivors with putting together their resume, building their confidence so when they're ready to get back out into the community and work, we've given them the confidence to do so.
Cool.
So that's a big thing.
Lines up really well.
Really lines up well, and something that we're really proud of, that relationship. Some of the other ones can be straight up volunteer work. Dutton Farm, we love being a part of that community, and it's just going and helping them get the farm in shape to do what they need to do to be able to serve their people on a day in, day out basis.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, it seems like you guys have a really good culture at Entech too. What are some of the things that you guys do internally to nurture that culture? Or
So I really want everybody to love coming to work every day. I know that's difficult. It is a job. We all get paid to do a job, but I want everybody to feel like it's part of their family, and we're their second family because they're spending so much time there. So we do things that they might not otherwise do for themselves. So we provide a personal trainer that comes in and was working out with us, a couple times a week. We've since kind of scaled back on that a little bit, but we'll get back to that. We have an in-house chef that comes in twice a week and cooks meals for everybody. So it's just things that are a little bit out of the ordinary that everybody truly appreciates because it's money that they don't have to spend and do it themselves. And just really creates a good culture. Like, they realize how important they are to us, and I couldn't do it without the staff that we have surrounding
It
us.
seems like too. I feel like every time I talk to you guys, it's like, oh, it's this person's birthday, it's this person's wedding shower, this person had a baby, and it's like, wow, and like you guys all get involved.
We do. We get involved. We come together. You know,
Which is super cool.
It's something very little to do. You know, to celebrate somebody's big anniversaries. You know, we really do a big celebration for the 5-year, 10-year, 15-year. You know, so on and so forth. And then birthdays, big birthdays. We celebrate anniversaries. Like you said, wedding showers, baby showers. We just make a big deal out of things and bring everybody together, and everybody's super appreciative of what we do and how we do it.
So let's go back to the 1980s, Kathy, and you're just getting started. No, let's go back to like 2009 actually. 'Cause that's kind of when you became that was like even like Super Saiyan, even like I'm normal Kathy, and now I'm business owner Kathy. You know,
Right.
What's one piece of advice you would give yourself when you purchased Entech? Is there anything you would have liked to have known, or any somebody who's starting a business advice you'd like to give them?
I mean, I feel like the way we did it was, I appreciated not knowing what I didn't know. Because had we known what we know now, I feel like we would have been more afraid. And we were not afraid. And I guess that would be my biggest piece of advice is if you're going to do it, just go in full force with everything you've got and keep chugging. Don't let the stress get to you and tear you down and make you afraid to make your next move. Like, you just keep going. And like I said, we've always told ourselves, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? So we have to scale back a little bit. So we have to do some of this nobody's sick and dying. We can do this. We've got this. It's just a business. And we know what we're doing. We know what the industry looks like. We know how to interview and talk with people. We've built a good culture. So just don't let fear get in the way of your success.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I feel like that's probably the thing that holds most people back the most is like just being comfortable or like being like, oh, I can never do this. You know
Right?
what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, then you get in the thick of it and you're like, yo, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Well, look at you guys.
Yeah.
You started this from the ground up.
Yeah, I had to sell tacos on a taco truck to pay payroll in the beginning. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
You do what you gotta do.
Shout out El Charo. Thanks, Jeff, for the taco job, dude. That was dope.
Yeah. And you had faith, and a lot of it is just believing, believing in yourself, believing in what you're doing, believing in the people that surround you, because if you believe in them, then they believe in themselves, and then everybody's not afraid to move forward. They're not, we always said, like, you can't make a mistake that's that big. So if you want to make a decision, go ahead and make that decision. And if it's a mistake, we'll fix it. That's easy. We can fix it, whether it's a relationship or whether you place the wrong person and we had to replace them. That's what we do. That's what we're in the business of doing, of helping finding, we find solutions for everybody, whether it's for our internal staff or our clients. That's what we're all about. Let's make this work and let's do it together and have fun while we're doing it.
When you guys bought the business, how many staff were direct to Entech? Like, how many staff did you have full time?
I think we had under 20 at that time.
I think that's the hardest thing when we started was like not knowing when to hire, honestly. Like that's like a big thing. And I think sometimes small companies actually should hire way faster than they do. Because I feel like if we hired faster, we would have grown quicker and like got through a lot of the lessons a lot quicker too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to be able to afford yourself.
For sure. Yeah.
So, there's, some truth to that. You have to be able to spend money to make money.
Yes. But you have to have the opportunities to...
Yeah, but you've got to have the opportunities. I think, and we kind of base it on when is everybody pushed too far?
Yeah.
When are they taking work home at night, coming into the office early to get their job done, feeling like they're pressed on the weekends because, family is important. And
100%.
we want everybody to be able to have a work life and a family life at the same time.
Yeah, so they're happy at work too, right?
Yeah, so they're happy at work. So you've got to be able to judge that. What are you making? What's this going to look like if I hire this person? How soon can I turn a profit? And how long am I willing to keep investing, before I turn that profit?
So are these
what's your tolerance level?
So like this consultative approach, is that something that you guys help your clients with kind of too? Like, do you feel like that's part of the experience that people get with Entech? It's like, hey, I want to hire somebody. It's not just like, hey, yeah, we'll find you the spot. Is it more, you guys dig deeper?
I mean, we absolutely can dig deeper. If people have that need, I mean, I think we come from some experience that we're able to help. So yeah, it's a matter of, like I said, we can do whatever you need us to do.
Yeah, you guys do
Yeah, help us
executive
through that.
search too, a little bit?
We do executive search, sure. hmm
Cool.
Yep, nothing's out of our reach. We don't really get into a lot of high-risk industrial or construction. We don't bring people in from out of the country and go through the visa process. We just don't really have the staff or the know-how to do that. But there's plenty for us to do here locally, and I feel like that's kind of our niche. That's what we're good at, being a little boutique service.
So what's your day-to-day like at Entech now?
Gosh, I really deal with our staff and circumstances and situations and, can we do this and what's that going to look like on the other side? So a lot of, I would say, consultation. We talk about, hey, can I bring in this client and what would the rates look like and can we do this? Or I've got a problem employee, how would you deal with this and handle this? So that's really, truly a lot of my day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So putting out fires /
Put out fires. I have one thing that I do every other week, and it's staff payroll. And I love it because there's a beginning and there's an end. And it just, you're like, okay, chalk that off to something off my list that day.
What's your favorite part about your job at Entech?
Dealing with the staff and making everybody feel good about what they're doing, training them, giving them the knowledge to be powerful so they are building confidence and be able to deal with our clients, employees on a day in, day out basis. I just want to be able to give them what I've learned through all my years to make them have confidence.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what do you do in your free time? You talked a lot about work, kind of, given Entech work-life balance, what do you like to do?
I'm a big water girl, so I live on a lake, and we've got a cottage up north also on a lake, so spend a lot of time on the water. Used to be a lot more active, used to be a big water skier, not so much
Do you
anymore.
ever do the slalom or the...
I could slalom,
You
I
ever do it
still
without
to
the
this
skis,
day.
Just with your feet, no
Just
skis?
one
You do
ski, one
Okay,
ski,
one ski.
slalom, yeah, 1 foot behind the other. So that was a big thing back in the day. Yeah, we did a lot of water skiing. I do enjoy winter, so I have no problem being in Michigan. Love the seasons. We snow ski. Just being outdoors. I would say that's kind of what I spend my time on. I've got a family and boys, so growing up they played a lot of hockey. So
How many kids?
in and out of the rink.
How many boys?
Well, that's a difficult question.
Okay.
I do have 3, but I did have an infant that passed,
Oh,
so
I'm sorry.
I have 2 that are living. Yeah, those are Max and Sam, and Charlie was my son that passed. So the boys have been in hockey since they were 4, and I still have one that's involved now. He's 21 and playing some college hockey.
Where's that?
Central Michigan University.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
you did some
CMU.
sort of fundraiser for that, right?
Yeah, fire up chips. Coming at you, Corey. Getting ready for golf outing.
So if you weren't doing what you're doing right now, professionally, what's another profession that would interest you?
Well, growing up, I thought I always wanted to be a grocery store cashier.
Seriously.
I loved how
It's not very...
I
That's
loved
pretty
how
low.
the mat moved. Now we're talking
Okay.
young. When
Like-
I was young,
Okay.
I always thought that was the coolest thing. You put your thing on it, and it moved, and I was like, oh, I gotta be that. I want to be that.
I wanted to be a zookeeper, a fire truck,
Okay,
or
fire
in the
truck.
mafia.
Yeah, see. And then I moved
That's
to, I always thought I wanted to be in education, because my parents were both in education, and so I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And I guess to this day, that's really what I'm doing, is I'm teaching my staff, what I learned, so in a sense.
So you like teaching?
I do love teaching.
Okay.
Oh, I really do. So I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and now, if I had it all to do it over again, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. It's
Okay.
my favorite movie.
Cool.
One of these days I'm going to be Wonder Woman for Halloween.
Nice.
It's happening.
Cool. What's one fun thing or one thing that most people don't know about you?
Probably that I left college because my boyfriend left college.
Nice.
And so I thought I wanted to,
So it really wasn't because of Entech. It wasn't because of the job.
It was part of it.
Yeah, okay.
He needed to stay home, so I got a job over the holiday, and he was staying home, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to stay home.
What college was it?
I was at CMU as well.
Nice.
Fire up chips. So to this day, I married that guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
and
it's worth
he is
it.
my husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now your
of,
kids
of
are
30.
finishing what you couldn't finish.
3 years.
Right?
Yes, fingers crossed.
I did
That's
the
right,
same.
that's right.
So I quit school because I was at OCC and I was playing online poker back then, and I played all night. I was like 19 and I fell asleep in class because and my economics teacher started like cussing me out, and I literally stood up and I was like, I pay
I'm
you.
done.
I was like, I pay you, dude. And then I left. That was it.
If I want to sleep there,
And then I used to drive to like in the morning because I was living with my parents, but they paid for it. So I'm like, all right. So I would like fake go to school. You know, like I would just like drive my like car like to like a random neighborhood and just like smoke cigarettes and pass out.
So did you ever go back?
No, I didn't go back.
Yeah.
The semester ended,
didn't
and I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And then I just bartended and waited tables for a while, and then got a sales job and stumbled into marketing, and then realized I was pretty good at it, and then started my own thing. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like all been like reading books and hands-on. And
Yeah, I mean, I've been through plenty of seminars and
I
learning
think
HR.
education's awesome.
Education is awesome. I just educated myself at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, once I got to this point, and you know, I don't know that college would have prepared me for what I do today. You know, and I started my own little training programs just based on creativity and what I wanted those people to learn and know, and so it just worked for me. It
Did you have any
doesn't
like good
work for
mentors
everybody.
or anything? Any good mentors in your life to help?
Janet was probably the best mentor that I had.
Yeah.
You know, she was encouraging. You know, my dad always taught me that you can do and you can be whatever you want to be. You know, you just have to have the drive and you can do it. There's plenty of resources. You know,
Drive creative agents.
No.
Sorry.
plenty of drive. Yeah, that was I'd say my dad and Janet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar. My parents for sure, and then a couple other people, but I can relate to that a lot. So.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, a fun fact is that my mom's name and Amy, my business partner, her mom's name are both Janet Sue.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird?
That's super weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
a fun fact.
Yeah, that's not a fun
That
fact.
not many people know.
Right. See, there you go.
Way to go. So, is there anything new coming up at Entech that you want to talk about?
But we've been kind of venturing down a couple of new paths. You know, like I said, we're always far-reaching and want to bring some things new our way. So maybe a little bit of gig work. We'll see how that plays out. And
What's gig work? Sorry, just talk to me like I'm 3.
the gig work is not a whole lot different than what we already do.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
just, I would say, it's more automated, and the
Gotcha.
candidates are actually scheduling themselves for shifts at a client,
Cool.
per se. Where we would
Yeah,
do that
makes
work
sense.
now, yeah, we do all the scheduling, we do all the communication. It's actually, again, it's that everything becoming automated, and the candidate can actually apply themselves and meet all the criteria and schedule themselves for shifts. It's really not a whole lot different, but it's a path we're looking into. In addition to that, we're always looking for new ways with our medical division, Entech Medical Staffing. They're looking into doing some surgical center work and how we can help those that are having surgeries, going home, to make a home on their own and not have family members, so we'll provide staff into the home.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh gosh, I really think we covered it all.
All right, let's go golfing.
Let's do it.